You're watching Sci-Fi Saturday. Discussion and analysis of all your favorite sci-fi TV shows. Only on the Anthony James YouTube channel. Hello, and welcome to our first Season 5 of The Expanse review. I'm here with Emmett, and we're going to be talking all about the first 3 episodes, which dropped on Wednesday. It is now Saturday. We're going to be doing every single week. We're going to be doing these reviews every single week until we finish the season. I think that's going to be in about 5 weeks' time, judging on the way they're releasing them. Something like that. Anyway, Emmett,
it's going to go quick. You know, they're releasing them in big bursts, and this is quite a megaton drop. You know.
Yeah, they're doing 3 in the first go, but I think it's 1 from now on, or is it 2? I don't know.
I need to double check, but I think maybe a couple of weeks they are releasing a few extra than we'll see as the weeks go on.
We'll see as the weeks go on, yeah. Well, anyway, if they'll release more quickly, that's great, because I want to see more of the show. Right, okay, so basically, Emma, give us a little overview. I personally am so excited to talk about this because there's so much cool stuff in this first 3 episodes. What do you think about it so far?
Well, I just want to, before we get too deep into it, I just want to say from our discussion on what we were expecting going into Season 5, I did call something.
Yes,
I did call something.
Well, we can talk about that straight out the gate because that's probably what people want to talk about. So the fact of the matter is, Emmett correctly predicted that the meteors were going to hit Earth. So at least one of them has. Obviously, we haven't seen the fallout of that. There's at least one man died. Unfortunately, we do have confirmation of. Well, we didn't actually see him dying, but come on, he's dead. But what? Okay, so what did you think when you saw it? Obviously, you were pumping the sky because you got it right. But what else? What else were you thinking when you saw that?
I was cheering the deaths of potentially millions because I was right about a theory I had. Yes, no, as I seen it happening, I was like, because obviously, we begin the 3 episodes with the first asteroid failing, and I was like, oh, okay, so this one isn't going to hit, but I still, in the back of my head, I was like, they're going to hit at some stage. We've been building this up a bit too much. So the moment that it impacted, I loved the visual for it because it's very, evocative of, a nuclear bomb going off or something. That's the immediate parallels that sort of come to mind.
Well, in this world where the countries are kind of planets or the belt, it is sort of the equivalent. Just a meteor, throwing a meteor at a planet is really the equivalent of a nuclear bomb, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just the shockwave, and again the poor fisherman, he was just trying to have a nice day at the beach, and him just watching the destruction come his way. It
kind of reminded me of the end of Rogue One,
Oh yeah, no, because me and Antoinette, we've been to Japan a couple times now, and we went to Hiroshima, and we went to the museums and stuff around. Did you
have to have a Geiger counter?
Luckily, no. It's all decimated. Not decimated. They've rebuilt. There's not a whole lot of radiation, but just the. I'm going to be excited to see if we. Well, not excited, but I'm going to be interested to see if we get to watch the devastation from ground level. Yeah. Because when we were there in Hiroshima and stuff, it was very emotional stuff, seeing people's lives who've been destroyed by all this, and I think there's a great potential in that to explore similar themes to what we've seen in the real world.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was a bit spoiled for me because I noticed in the opening credits the meteors hitting the planet. They put that in the opening credits, but absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. And I was thinking when I was watching it, to be honest with you, is that I don't really have a side that I'm on in this show. It's a little bit like there's a lot of shows where there's so much gray in the characters that you're not actually really rooting. I think we are rooting for the crew of the Rocinante first and foremost, but in general, in terms of the big powers in the show, I'm not really rooting for anyone in particular. But I did find myself thinking, just because I want to see the fallout and want to see the show, I really wanted Earth to get hit by meteors. I really wanted that to happen.
I was on the same way. We were talking about it. We wanted to see Earth shook up because Mars and the Belt have both been shook up by the ring gates in a way that Earth hasn't been. So Earth needed to take a hit on that one. Obviously the politics of Earth, Mars, and the Belt are so integral to the show, and they're very clear that there's no out and out good guy in the sense of like all their governments have done, or all of the factions have done really shady shit. Like, all with, and you can usually track back their motivations and stuff like that, and you can sort of understand where they're coming from. But yeah, no, I feel like, the Rocinante as outsiders from this political structure, to like a political struggle rather, are, the people that are most easy to empathize with. But at the same time, characters like Christian and Bobbie Draper, they're also very engaging.
Bobbie Draper. Yeah, like I will say, like, so now that we've mentioned the Rocinante, the thing is, this season so far, there has been no Rocinante. I think we've been on it maybe once looking at the repairs. Holden was on there. But Holden's storyline seems to be staying in Tycho Station, sort of making sure the Rocinante is being repaired correctly. But also, there's this whole storyline of the proto-molecule still going on, because obviously Fred Johnson has a sample of it. And there's the camera woman, Monica, from back in season 3. She's now trying to investigate this, and there's a whole. What do you find about like the beginnings of this storyline where she gets like locked in the chamber? We'll just do the whole character arc. The whole character arc so far of Holden. Yeah, we'll go each main character at a time. So Holden, what do you think of the start of his journey so far this season?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because we have like 4 basic main storylines. I feel focused on certain. characters.
We have 6.
Well, we'll maybe discuss where we think the storylines all link up. But
there are links. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, Holden. A thing I think has been sort of apparent in like a lot of the storylines for this season is this idea of like broken families, or like family dynamics being like damaged or stretched, or in a various states of disrepair. And like Holden is not necessarily with his family in the sense of his biological family, his 6 mothers, 6 fathers, or whatever the exact number is for his family. But his adoptive family, his found family of the Rocinante, are sort of not about, because they're all having to deal with personal issues currently. So like Holden is a little bit adrift without them. Like when you can see that he's worried about Naomi and her current situation, and like without them about, he kind of maybe doesn't feel as centered. Like he seems a little bit more.
He's got no one to command. He's usually the one who's telling people what to do and sort of and looking out for them. He doesn't really have that at the minute.
And he did, like, in the same way that, like, he looks out for them, they look out for him, and
he relies on them as well.
Yeah, and I think especially in a situation where he's having to work with 2 people he doesn't particularly trust. He doesn't trust Fred, and he doesn't trust Monica. And I think that's a difficult position for him to be in, and he's definitely missing everybody, and he's kind of concerned about everyone at the moment.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think that the best of this storyline is yet to come. I've enjoyed like sort of finding out what Fred's doing. I like the bit where they showed the sort of the security footage that Monica found, and it was like and they had the doctor, the doctor from the second season, the one that we were talking about last week with the lack of empathy.
The magnets to the head.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, this storyline, I think, is all to play for. I will say, at the very beginning, obviously, when Naomi and Holden, James Holden, hadn't went their separate ways yet, I think the scene between them, whenever Naomi came to him and said, like, I'm going to go try and find my son, and you're not coming with me. That scene. I enjoyed that scene. I thought they did a good job. I thought it was for the most part believable, the emotionality in the scene. I will say, for me, and I want to see if you agree with me on this.
Yeah.
I felt that scene played like Naomi had played that conversation over in her head 1,000 times. And so whenever Holden was saying anything, she was getting frustrated so straight away because she was like, this is what you said the 999 times in my head. So it felt like she was way too harsh on Holden, to be honest with you.
Yeah. She was very emotionally compromised.
She was. No, but I feel like she was emotionally compromised because she was saying exactly what she knew he would say, and she exactly. That's what I felt from that scene. I felt sorry for him in that scene, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I felt sorry for him too because again, like he wants to be able to help her, and like it's in his instinct to try and help her, and him not. We cut back to Holden a couple of times, like looking at messages and stuff like that, trying to like see if he's heard any word from her and stuff like that. Like he's obviously concerned, especially because he knows the sort of situation that she's going into, and like he wants to be able to help. And I understand why she was having to put her foot down in the sense of if she like had given Holden an inch, he would have taken a mile in that situation. Like he would have like if she had showed any quote unquote weakness in that, he would have like pushed his way into coming with her.
Yeah.
So she had to be like really firm with him, But yeah, it was a little harsh. I also was like, because we see later that her not having Holden with her didn't really help the situation. People were pretty much as antagonistic to her as if Holden would have been around.
Yeah.
So like I understand why she wanted to try it that way, and I understand why it happened from a story perspective. But it did sort of kind of put her at a disadvantage. She didn't have any backup in that situation.
Yeah, it's true. And while we're in this area, we've talked about Holden's storyline. Why don't we then move into Naomi then? Because I think those two sort of branch off each other a little bit. And then Naomi's what it turns into. Naomi's is very self-contained to a certain extent as well. So she's going looking for her son Philip, who is the son of her and also Marco, who we know is probably going to be like the big bad guy of this season. And basically, she goes and she meets up with a few old friends. One of them is played by the actor. I'm not quite sure of his name, but the actor who is in the show The Killing, the dad in the first season of The Killing, who is absolutely fantastic in that show. So check that out if you haven't seen it. But so I love the dynamic between Naomi and her old friends, like her old sort of pirate partners. What did you think about her being back in this world? Like we've seen her with the Belters before, but I don't know if we've really seen her in this like sort of piracy world before.
Yeah, no, it was fun to see the relationships that she had with the chap and the lady. Obviously, the older fella is much more cordial to her and like actually happy to see her, whereas the other woman feels betrayed and is still holding a grudge about it. And it feels kind of like, it's almost like she was in like a gang or something, or like in an abusive relationship, and she's having to like go back to like, well, it was an abusive relationship, but she's having to go back into this area that like leaves her vulnerable. So like, I'm very sympathetic for her the entire time because like you can feel her getting like torn apart like through these interactions.
Yeah, it's reminding her of all the things that she ran away from basically. But I do believe her when she says that she loves her son. I don't know if it's been fully fleshed out for us why she did leave. I'm pretty sure it's just because she chose a better life for herself. But basically, I think I understand the animosity her son has towards her. I'll just say, like, I get it. And he's grown up with his father. He has, and he's been completely radicalized. And I think that there was only really going to be one outcome to this this little storyline here. How do you see it got moving forward, though? Do you see Philip and Naomi becoming closer? Do you think Philip will start seeing her way? Or do you think he's fully radicalized off the deep end and he'll just keep working with his father?
Well, again, I think Naomi did mention in earlier seasons that, she got out because she knew that Marco's life was going to lead to death.
Yeah.
And I think she was just in a situation where, like, she could only get herself out and had to, like, abandon her son, which, we can argue obviously on the morality of that, but I understand why.
Well, would you rather? And I think in her mind she was like, "Would I rather be someone who abandoned their son, or would I rather be someone who kills millions of people?"
Yeah, like it's very.
If you look at it like that choice, it's hard.
It's a tough question to be in. Like you save yourself, but you leave someone behind, and like she obviously doesn't view herself particularly highly of it. Obviously, because Philip has brought her along or forced her to be brought along, even though they were just going to leave her behind.
Yeah,
I think that indicates that he, on some level, wants to have his mother back in his life. But I think there is that big question over the head of whether Philip can be saved. Generally, in shows in this sort of situation, yes, the character will be saved regardless of what sort of terrible things they do. It's a very common trope.
But there's so much going on in this show that it's just one storyline. It might not happen in that one.
Exactly, it might not happen in that one. And the fact of Philip is not an innocent in these situations.
He's old enough now. He's old enough now.
He's been radicalized. Yes, he's been brainwashed into this, but he's an active part of their attacks and stuff, and it's undeniable that he is at least partially responsible for the dropping of the asteroid on Earth, and that's a that's a difficult thing to be able to wash your hands of. You know, that's depending on how many people are end up being killed in this. Like that's pretty.
That's the interesting thing about like sort of characters like this and people in real life like this. I would also say is that whenever if you viewed it like a cycle of abuse, right, and you thought of like Marco as an abusive partner, abusive father, if you view radicalizing your son as abusive, for example, right, then there is a certain amount of empathy that goes towards Philip. But unfortunately, when you become an adult and then you actually do carry out those acts, yes, there is empathy to how you got there, but you have to treat the acts with the severity that they have, no matter what path you took to get there. So, yeah, it's pretty harsh situation.
Yeah, he's been brainwashed and he hasn't been given any other opportunity in life. So I can understand why he is where he is, and maybe again, having Naomi around will give him that out, will give him that chance to rebuild his life. Whether he'll be capable of doing so or not, that's a big question.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So that's the Naomi storyline. Let's go.
We'll also have to see if he adjusts well to his stepdad Holden. In my case.
Well, that's probably why she didn't want him to come along. The awkward stepdad. He'll have the catcher's mittens. Like, want to play catch there, Philip?
It's like, I just love your mother so much, kid.
Yeah. Which stepdad trope is he going to be though? Is he like the cop macho man, or is he like the nerd Ned Flanders type?
I
you have to be one or the other.
Yeah, I feel like Holden as a character has to be like the magic. I would love to see him as Ned Flanders, though. You know.
Hey, champ. You know.
Hey, champ.
All right.
Hopefully.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's Naomi. Let's move into now my favorite character, Timothy. So Amos is actually not called Amos. He took someone else's. Someone he killed. He killed someone for this fella, Eric, and he took his identity so that he could escape the planet and sort of live a peaceful life, although it didn't really turn out to be that peaceful. So he goes back to Earth. He has a little run-in with Avasarala, which was cool. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I love any time Avasarala and Amos interact because they're so opposite ends of the spectrum, you know. Fuck. And like her being like, you know, are you going to kill someone? I won't bail you out if you are. It's just like, yeah. I love Amos always being so complimentary to her and her dress.
Yeah. You look like, she goes like, you look like shit or something, and he goes, you look amazing.
Yeah, he's such a those little moments of sweetness that come out of Amos are just so nice, you know. Yeah. And because he's such a direct person that, you know, doesn't really see the need to lie in social situations. You know, you can tell he's being honest when he's talking to people. He's like, yeah, you look amazing, you know.
Yeah, and let me just say, right, I absolutely loved. Now, this show is like, there's a few shows that I talk about on my channel, which I just absolutely love, and this show showed me why I love the show so much. Is that you don't really know what's going to happen, and I think it's the storytelling is so brave, and it's based on the books, obviously, so the authors of the books so brave. I love the fact that, and I don't think the storyline on Earth with Amos is finished yet, but I love the fact that we went to Earth to grieve and set in place sort of his mentor or his stepmother or whoever this woman was, his adopted. I don't know who this woman Lydia was, his mentor of some way.
His mother if not in blood, at least in spirit.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, he went to do this, and then he had to go to this big crime boss guy Eric to sort this out, and and then there was like a bit of a real big load of tension there. And then whenever Amos just goes, you don't need to test me. There's the gun. You know, it's literally just about the house for Charles. And when Eric was just like, seriously? That's all it is? And then it was completely diffused. I was like, I love that they just did that. Like, yeah, it might change moving forward, but I wouldn't hate if it changed going forward. But even at this point in the show, in the series, I'm just like, oh, that was so cool. I just love that Amos was just like, nope, this is all we want. And the guy was like, oh, sure, no problem.
It's what, like, because in this world of like political subterfuge and people double speaking and having agendas under agendas, Amos is unique in the sense that he is so direct and very honest about what he wants and what he wants to do. So like everyone's sort of expecting like these big double crosses from each other, whereas Amos is just like, nope, I just want the house. Like just want the house for him.
Exactly. If Amos wanted to kill him, he would have walked in and shot him in the head. Like he wouldn't have done anything else. If Amos says he wants something, he wants something. Now here's a question for you, and this I don't think this would be a spoiler, so you could let us know in the comments if neither of us actually know. Did you gauge from that those two are brothers, or is it just that he said brother?
Well, again,
maybe brothers in arms in this old sort of way of life, maybe.
Yeah. So, like, obviously, we've got the impression that Amos, Timothy. I think I'm still going to always call him Amos, though. I like that name for him.
Oh, that's what he'll go by as well. That's what he'll go by.
Of course. And much like in the same way, if someone tells me their pronouns are different to how I've been referring to them, if someone tells me their name's different to how I've been referring them, I will change it.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Got to be adaptable. But, like, obviously, Amos has been, like, this sort of street rat kid, so I think the other boy, if not, like, I don't think they were maybe biologically related, but, like, were sort of in that sort of situation together, and were, again, in the same way that I think Amos would probably, not maybe out loud, but think of Holden and Alex as his brothers, to a certain extent, of, like, that fire-forged brethren thing, and Naomi
it's like Band of Brothers, for example. Like, it's like...
Yeah, like...
It's like a relationship forged through hardship and through, going... It's like whenever I've ever done drama and we go through a play together, like we're rehearsing for months and then you do like 5 days of a play, you feel like a family.
Yeah. Or like I had a similar thing when working on like short film shoots. Like if you got one person that's just an absolute nightmare to work with, everyone else unites so quickly. Because they're like, fuck that guy. Like,
Yeah, I completely see that. So, one thing I will say about this storyline as well is I thought the casting of the young Amos, or young Timothy, I should say, was brilliant. Like, I like in the show Dark, which I cover most of the time. Like my viewers would know, the casting in that show is amazing to the point where when they have a character like a younger version of a character, it looks perfect every time. So like they literally cast they went through hundreds of people to get it in that show. Whereas in this, I'm very rarely in American TV and cinema am I impressed by casting of younger versions, but I honestly think that the casting of the younger version of Amos here was fantastic. Like the casting of young Forrest Gump, I think that was good too. But the casting of young Amos here, I thought was great.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to see a little bit more of young Amos through his like Amos
reminiscing,
sort of, flashy backs sort of still happening thing. I'd like to see more of that life,
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so do you think that we're finished with the character of Charles, or do you think that Amos is going to have to sort of do a bit more with him? Maybe, I don't know, maybe... Oh, hang on. Before we even talk about that, how did we miss this? Whenever he was on the ferry going into the moon, he completely killed them all in the bathroom, and then whenever he got off, the fellas came and said, Amos, you're coming with us, and he's like, they were still alive when I left the room.
Yeah, it's such an Amos thing. It's like, everybody was alive when I left the room. I don't know what to tell you. They came at me.
But he's starting to be paranoid about his nature. Like he's starting to actually realize that maybe he was like regretting doing that, which I don't think Amos in the past has really regretted doing those sorts of things, but I think he was starting to regret that action. Actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure he necessarily regretted beating the shit out of those guys because they were all assholes just shaking people down. I think from the previous seasons, he's realized he has a problem with empathy and the like, but I also think there's at least some part of him that's upset about killing that woman that he was quite close to in the previous season.
Yeah.
He didn't enjoy that, but again, a very Amos thing to do of, every problem is a nail to a hammer.
Exactly.
He's very direct. And I think he's sort of upset about that, especially now that he's also reeling from the death of his mother as well. Amos is like everyone's in very weird emotional places, and without each other to like sort of anchor them, it's leading them all in these odd sort of directions.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing where Amos goes from here. Obviously, he's on Earth, and the asteroid has just hit Earth, so is that going to like sort of halt his getting off Earth now, or maybe it'll speed it up. They'll have to evacuate, but definitely interested to see what happens there.
I think the asteroid has to change his plans at least somewhat. Like it's going to have some sort of impact, pun unintended.
Oh, I think actually what might happen is he'll be Avasarala's man on the ground.
Very possible.
Yeah, maybe that'll happen because she's already been in contact with him and stuff. So that actually might happen. I think. What do you think about the whole Bobbie Alex storyline with Avasarala sort of pulling the strings for Bobbie, and they're looking into the corrupt Martian military, and we get introduced to a character called Admiral Sauveteur. What did you think about this storyline?
Well, this is because Bobbie, like last season, was dealing with the knowledge that Mars is dying. If you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
And it's hardened her quite a bit, and we're seeing like the tail end of her her work in the black market, which has obviously had an effect on her.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone watching is interested, Boom Comics, I think I've mentioned this on our other video, is doing a interquill, which is like an intermediary piece focus on Avasarala and Bobbie in this period, where we see a little bit more
setting up these missions.
Yeah, setting up these missions. We get to see Avasarala as she just started on Luna, and Bobbie as she was midway through this process.
That's cool.
So again, so if anyone's interested, definitely recommend picking it up. I've already read the first issue and I enjoyed it. But we can see that Bobbie has not been in a good place for a while, and seeing Alex come in and be typical Alex, trying to glass half full, even when he's in a bad situation kind of guy, is sort of rubbing her the wrong way a little bit because she's not in a good place. But we're also getting to see Alex's reaction, not only to the fact that he's having difficulties reuniting with his family that doesn't really necessarily want to be reunited with him, but also the fact that he's looking and he's seeing for the first time that the dream of Mars is dying, in the sense of it's being abandoned for greener pastures, and it's affecting him too, because he's
because he didn't believe that the military, like the Servitor guy, could be involved. But obviously we now see what he's having excommunicated or sort of dishonorably discharged Martians going to attack him, Alex. So the fact that that's happening, it's sort of proof that this guy Sauveteur is actually up to something. I'm really intrigued by that.
Yeah, well, it's
some sort of coup happening, maybe.
It's people I think in the last season the police officer sort of explained it well, where it's a lot of people are seeing the writing on the wall, so they're trying to get as much money as possible to fund their next steps to get themselves a place on the other side of the ring gates, and sort of start shifting the power and the like. So
maybe so Sauveteur guy is amassing all of these military weapons in order to go through the ring and establish a base somewhere.
Yeah, military weapons and money, and maybe again Alex referred to him as having more dust in his in him than blood, if you mean. Which again, love that as a metaphor. That's really nice. It's it seems very a very natural phrase to come up. But I feel this man, I feel we've seen a lot of it, the disaffected soldiers who they serve their time and then feel like they're not being rewarded, and now they're trying to take advantage of the new situation. So I think he is of that ilk, in the sense of he devoted his life to Mars, and now Mars is no longer going to be a thing. So he's well, what did any of my honor or any of my service even mean? And now is trying to grab something from the dying gasps of the planet.
Very realistic, very realistic. I think I'm interested to see. I think Sauveteur is going to become a big character. I like the way I see it going. I think that his little faction of whatever he's doing is going to become. I think that's sort of setting up later seasons. It feels that way to me, because I think Marco's going to be the main bad guy in this season. I don't really see there being a second big bad, but I think this might be setting up things further down the line, which I'm really excited to see. My mind is thinking, someone this high up in the military, my mind immediately thinks coup. But it also could be, as you say, going through the rings and having the potential to set up their own colony. But
I also think maybe this chap is probably working a little bit more with Marco than we
possibly.
Because obviously they're using the Martian stealth tech for the asteroids and stuff, and he might be wanting to upset the balance of Earth, damage Earth, so Earth can't really go through the ring gates.
So they have a common enemy.
and like use that to be able to get through the like have Mars have more stake in the ring gates than Earth, because obviously Nancy Guy was turning her sights to the ring gates, and now as the secretary she can make those sort of decisions. But I think they maybe are in bed together on that kind of front.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, actually. So maybe Servituo's nature will come more to the forefront in this series, because if they are in bed, that'll happen. Okay, so one of the last... there's two more big parts of the show. So we've talked about four of them. We talked about Holden, we talked about Naomi, Alex, now Amos. The two left, because I said there were six, remember? So we'll end on Avasarala, okay? But I'm going to go for Drummer, okay?
Of course.
So Kamina Drummer is now a pirate, leading a pirate fleet, you could say, because she's got 3 ships now. And basically, I like the sort of it was very touching. I really like this character. I really love Drummer. I think that her just walking away showed great integrity, to be quite honest with you. I think that she is a character of integrity. I think that I came to like Ashford too. For the first few episodes of Ashford, I thought he was the biggest dickhead in the world, like, to be honest with you.
Well, I think that was by design. A lot of like season 3, season 4 was their developing relationship of like coming to terms with the fact that they're not enemies. They're ultimately on the same side. They both kind of want the same things, and even if they didn't always agree, they developed such a great mutual respect for each other. You know.
Yeah, and I was sad to see him go, to be honest with you. But he did get some really important information. So Drummer actually found inside like a fire extinguisher or whatever it was. Yeah. She found like the old hard drives, the backups and everything, and a gun and all that sort of thing. And she was able to send the tape of Marco talking to Ashford, and he was explaining that like even Belter's imagination is small, because obviously are very much alluding to what they were going to do. Yeah. And that was sent on then to Avasarala eventually from Fred Johnson. So obviously there's a lot of links here going on, but that's where Kamina is at the minute. So just overall, I think I like where this character's going. I personally think that at some point in the story, the sort of the main powers that be are going to align back in a certain way, which makes her come back into that fold. Like, I don't think she's going to be a pirate for the rest of the show. Maybe she will, but I think she'll eventually to get a sort of position of power again. That's what I sort of feel. I think she's in her intermittent years.
I feel like so the reason I had put it into like 4 storylines was I was like Holden and Fred are one, Amos / Avasarala are kind of one on Earth / Luna, Alex and Bobbie are one, and then but like sort of like grouping certain characters together. And I think Naomi and Drummer, their storylines are going to interact, because obviously Naomi has been forcefully taken and is going to end up on Marco's ship, probably, most likely. And
they're gonna
Drummer,
go. Yes, they're gonna go and try and get him. Yep.
Yeah, because Drummer, like she's stopped for now, but I don't think that she's going to stop long term with her quest for revenge for Ashford. Just because like you could see how broken up she was about it. Like I loved like her last scene in those episodes where like she took out the whiskey and she opened it up like she was gonna drink it, and then like she was like, you could see how like frustrated she was, and then she sealed up the bottle again because she's not going to drink it until she gets Marco. She so it's a matter of time before she starts to go Ahab on this guy and like starts like in the same way that Holden went Ahab on the proto molecule, in season 2. Yeah. Like she's gonna be like, I'm hunting this man down. He killed my friend. I'm going to kill him too. And I think that will obviously be where like that will be the threat that Naomi's having to deal with as well, in the sense that there'll be the ongoing threat of Marco being crazy the way that he is, and then the threat of like Drummer's coming to finish off Marco, and Philip could get caught in the crossfire because of it.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, and also Naomi and Drummer are very good friends, so that'll be a really cool interaction there as well.
Very, very much so. And like, because we seen like at the end of the last season, like Ashford the reason that he got caught is because he hesitated essentially when like Philip came out, like with a gun pointed at him, and it seemed to be like he could have killed Marco, but like he maybe didn't have it in him to kill Marco in front of his son, who he knew was Naomi. Like, I think he's aware of the connection, so he's like he likes Naomi too much to be like, can't do it.
Yeah, he did have an emotional heart, that character, by the end, which was good. I'm sad to see him go, but moving on, we have Avasarala, the last sort of person we haven't really talked about. She's got a whole really interesting storyline. I thought like the political race and all would have been finished now, and she would have moved on to something else, but I actually see, based on this storyline and how like sort of she's been taking things to Nancy Gao, and Nancy Gao's really like, Nancy Gao's doing a great job of just like putting her in her place. I beat you. Go, you stop talking. So basically, I love that interaction. But now Avasarala has been proven correct. And I could see that she actually will return to power. I could see that happening.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that. Like we mentioned this before in our sort of predictions for season 5, where like my thought process was going to be that asteroid was going to hit. Nancy Guy is going to be blamed for it potentially, because like Christian was like being like, hey, I have these concerns, and like trying to, and she was just shooting them down. And now because of that, like literally just before the attack, Christian was trying to get the watchtowers to look out for these asteroids and was denied it because of Nancy Guy's sort of interference. And because of that, like millions of people might have died from however many people were caught in this explosion will have died. And like, I feel like that's going to turn people against Guy if it ever comes out. And then that will definitely set the stage for Christian to sort of like come back in here.
Her ascendancy.
Whether she retakes the undersecretary seat or maybe works like behind the scenes more, not sure, but we'll see how that goes,
Yeah, even like the landscape, no pun intended, of Earth is going to be completely unpredictable moving forward. Like, I don't even know if the government will be in the same, like maybe one of the asteroids is going to hit the government and like be no government anymore. You never know what's going to happen. So
complete
it's really
anarchy,
really interesting going forward. How on earth, like, how many cigarettes does Avasarala smoke? That's what you need to be asking.
To get a voice that deep and that husky, I don't know. I wish I had a voice like that. Jesus,
Oh, I'm not willing to put the smoking in to get it though. That's the thing.
Oh no. If I could just naturally have it, that would be superb.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. All right, so basically, is there anything more to add, Emmett, in general for the show before we move into episode 4 next week?
Ooh, that is I think, again, we've got so many different plot threads going out that I enjoyed getting 3 episodes in a row, because I think otherwise it would have felt quite slow. But getting this big burst of 3 episodes at once was a good way to start off the season. So I was
first episode was very, very slow, actually. That's what I thought. And it was really cool the way that, and then obviously they manipulated it this way because they knew 3 were going to be dropping probably, but the way that it ended on the cliffhanger of Earth getting exploded, like
they knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing. Like, let's be honest,
I thought it was the right way to go about it. So like I'm enjoying these, instead of just getting an hour and not being able to really sink your teeth into it, we're getting to really go in depth with a lot of complex character stuff, and then also huge explosions. So best of both worlds.
It's best of both worlds, or best of 1.5 world now, because that's taking Earth out of it a bit. All right, well, that is us. There's us for this week. Thanks very much for watching, guys. If you would like the video, I forgot to say at the start, like the video if you liked the video. If you didn't like the video, dislike, I don't mind. Also, could you please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, I may as well say while I'm here, if you watch Dark and you want to watch my live stream every Tuesday, Emmett popped into the comments the other day in the live stream, and we're having a great old fun time. You've never seen Dark, but he didn't. I'm sure while I saw his little comments there, I tried not to be spoilery, but yeah.
And I appreciated you not spoiling anything.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, there's us for this week. If we don't see you, I think we will see you. Merry Christmas. I think the next one's on Boxing Day.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
when and where are we right now? Anyway. There we go.
What is time?
What is time? I think the next time we see you will be on Boxing Day. So Merry Christmas, guys. If we didn't, like, I hope you had a good Christmas. Sorry, no. This video is going out before. I hope you have a good Christmas. Jesus Christ. All right, see you later. Bye.
Bye.
You're watching Sci-Fi Saturday. Discussion and analysis of all your favorite sci-fi TV shows. Only on the Anthony James YouTube channel.